15 of these receivers have a grade from Scouts Inc. of 70 or higher. That signifies a likely third rounder. And that amount, Greeny, would be the second most, in Scouts Inc.'s database all time. So it really is such a deep class. I think that adds to the fact that you're going to see some stars at the top, 5 or 6 guys that are going to be taken very early. But there's a lot of depth throughout this class.
For your money, who's going to be the first one off the board? Because we hear CeeDee Lamb, we hear about the Alabama guys, Jerry Jeudy. Who do you think is the first one to go off the board?
I'm going to say Jerry Jeudy just because I think it fits more with the need of the teams that may be there to pick receivers. But it's really a toss-up between CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. I mean, look, CeeDee Lamb is a guy that, has DeAndre Hopkins type skill sets to him. He's somebody that has that type of yards after the catch toughness. And then Jerry Jeudy has some Odell Beckham Jr. to him and, may need to be worked on a little bit from the catching and the hand standpoint. But the route running is unbelievable and already OBJ level right now.
And Nick, I want to ask you about something else because Hembo and I were going through some numbers. And if you look back over the period of time, basically the last 20 years, of first-round picks, you look at what percentage of the guys who were drafted in the first round by their team wind up signing a second contract with their team. And by a wide margin, the lowest is receivers. To be clear in what I'm saying, of all the position groups, quarterbacks, linemen, linebackers, the ones that by a wide margin wind up signing a second contract with their team, fewest are wide receivers. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think because they're so context dependent. They're so dependent on a good quarterback and a good offensive line. And sometimes I think you could get lulled into believing a receiver is better than he is because he's in a system in college, or he has a quarterback in college who takes care of him, or he goes into the NFL and lands in a system with a quarterback that's not so good, or O-line that can't protect that quarterback. I think because you can't just hand them the ball like you would a running back, and you can't just throw the ball like you would be a quarterback. There was so much more reliant on so many other people to make sure they succeed. Sometimes you can have a tough time grading their performance in college because of that, and their performance in NFL could lag their performance in college because they might end up in a bad situation.
It's a fascinating thing to me. By the way, overwhelmingly, offensive linemen wind up with the highest percentage of teams that wind up signing a second contract if they're first-round picks. But, Laura, do these guys, the guys at the top of this, as we've seen the NFL game sort of evolve over the years, do they play in offenses that are similar to what they will see on Sundays?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's a great point that you bring up, Greeny. I would expect to see that number for wide receivers change just because we've seen a lot of the college game head to the NFL. And I think when you see more of these speed and space offenses that you'll see, a lot of these guys continue to play in, that's only going to work well for them going forward. Some people have said, well, CeeDee Lamb played in the Big 12 and he had a ton of separation all the time against defenders to make the catches that he did. But look, he created the separation. It wasn't always that. CeeDee Lamb played in the college football playoff and did have, despite Oklahoma's numbers in the playoff, did have some success against some big-time defenses. So I think when you look at this overall, we're going to see a shift in more receivers, especially this class, having success long-term in the NFL and maybe signing some of those second deals a little more than we've seen in the past.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.